this guy. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Christian, we're look, hold on, check this out, guys. We kind of think alike. Look at this. Blue and black all day, baby. All day.
Shocker.
Shocker. Guys, we're gonna rock and roll. Welcome to the day. It is June 8th, 8:39. Thank you for your waiting. Our managers were finishing up our huddle this morning. We had a couple things to chat through before we let you beautiful people in this morning. We have 38 people that are ready to crush the day. This is the last day of week one of the push. So the push, we had a Monday, right? And then we had one full week, and we're about to go into week two. Okay. I'd think about today as like Q4 of the week. Okay. You should do about 25% of your sales on Monday. Okay. Monday is the biggest day of our week in a single day period. And really, what we're focused on today is making sure that we've got 3+ demos ahead at a minimum. So if there's any slots that are unfilled today that you need to book on same days, we want to focus on getting those booked this morning to get ready to rock and roll. And then we want to focus on your order count between Tuesday and Wednesday pre-team meeting. Okay. Because that's Q1 of next week. Tuesday and Wednesday is like Q1 of next week. Getting your order count on Tuesday, Wednesday. Can you go into the team meeting with 3, 4, 5, 6 orders already going into the team meeting? Want to highlight Mr. Hogue. All of you know his name. You've seen him on the sales reports. I'm just going to highlight a couple things. $1.269 million in sales. Some of you think Christian lives on a different planet. No, he lives on Earth in Kennesaw. He is a college student, okay, playing soccer at a collegiate level at Reinhardt. So some of you think you're busy. I guarantee you he's got just as much, if not more. Christian doesn't only sell Cutco, he's also very involved in his family. He has an awesome girlfriend, Tiana Stone. He's got a dog, Siggy. He has a life. He has a business at his house where he's got 8 or so people living in his house that he rents out. He's got a lot of things going on, man. But he still found a way in the month of May to sell 100. Right now he's at 145,000. He sold about 112, $113,000 for the month of May. He's at $145,000 so far for the summer, $1.269 million in sales, 60 orders so far for the summer. I want you to check out the average order. Okay. Check out the average order. 60 orders at 145, 2,430 CPO per order. This is not created just by the demo itself. This is created by the quality of customers that Christians chooses, catch my word there, chooses to spend his time with. Since Christian started this job, he has been nothing but specific, analytical, and strategic about how he spends his time with the job. It comes down to recommendations and it comes down to quality focus on the demo slots that he has. Whether it's a game week and he can get in 3 slots, or it's a week, where he can do 18 or 20 demos or 10 or 12, whatever the number is. He's focused on making sure the time that he's spending is with his absolute best customers. Christian, thank you for your leadership, your mentorship on our team. I appreciate having you inside of our organization, having you in our office, and being a leader to a lot of people across the country. For us to be able to have you on this morning workshop and for them to get a taste of what it's going to be like at our SC1 event. SC1, we have Christian and his coach, Justin Ford, in a workshop and breakfast. We're going to invite a select group of people from our division to get a chance to attend that breakfast and workshop with Christian. But everybody gets to hear from him this morning. So, Christian, thanks for being here. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. It's always a pleasure. I'm very grateful to be here this morning with all you guys. I want to give you guys a little bit of perspective because I think that that's always important. A lot of people say, "Wow, what you're doing is working." That's through a lot of failure. So if you are failing right now in Rex, if you're having a difficult time in that category, that is okay. That is okay. You are normal. So take a little bit of stress off of your shoulders and understand that you are not living this alone, that everybody is likely in some walk of it experiencing this same exact feeling. So, as we're kind of talking into today, I want to give you guys a quick secondary perspective about me. I started in technically, we'll call it Kennesaw Marietta in 2023. And then I started mid-July, and then I had SC2, which was probably the single most impactful experience in my Cutco career. Because if I did not go to SC2, I would not have made close to what I've made because of that. There is not a shadow in my mind. So if it comes to you guys making a priority of SC1, make sure that you just do it because it's literally going to hinder your permanent success moving forward. And it's going to cost you millions of dollars if you do not attend. I'm a true testament of that. So I just wanted to give you guys perspective on that and also give you guys perspective that after SC2, I would not recommend this for anybody. I essentially quit Cutco for 2 months. And I had probably one of the most brutal experiences of not selling after leaving for college. Now, for a lot of people, they experience this. I ended up having to restart a market about 3 hours away in Chattanooga, and I realized that I couldn't rely upon my or initial list, my initial recommendations. So I had to get really creative and I had to get good at seeing quality people quick if I wanted to take my volume of sales to where I wanted to go. So there's a couple of things that I immediately noticed. I needed some activity over no activity. First thing I want to say, you got to get demos in front of you, obviously, to create recs. That's a no-brainer. We're not stupid. We can all read from the same page on that. But I think that it's important too that we understand that quality does beat quantity within reason. Within reason. Now, I'm not saying you should ever cancel your appointments. I'm never ever saying that. But what I'm saying is if you're not qualifying your recommendations, then you are literally wasting money. And I think we all like making money. I mean, I'm not 100% money motivated, but I think that our time is all valuable. And if you would like to make more money per hour, then this is the quickest, simple critique that you can make to fix it. So when I went to Chattanooga, I did three things to figure out a base because I knew zero people in Chattanooga. I did appointments with cafeteria ladies. I went to Discount Tire for 3 days in a row, and I just went to different ones in Chattanooga and rotated my tires, opened the doors for people. I'm not proud of this, but I went to a yoga class. I hate everything flexibility. I needed to get people in front of me, and I thought, where could I find these people as quickly where they're already at? So I went to high net worth neighborhoods, and I also went to high areas of quality so that I didn't have to worry about the brutal learning curve. Now, the brutal senses, I built that, yes, and I'll tell you guys how I built that in recommendations. But I'll also tell you when I got back to Kennesaw, I had not as nice of a market, but I had all these nice, simple strategies to create the market that I wanted. And within essentially a month, I was able to create 40K CPO once I got back because I put all this into practice after I had learned it in such a stressful environment. So I wanted to give you guys perspective because I sucked at the recommendations in the beginning. I was not good at it, and now I average over 30 because of this. And I want to try and teach all this to you guys because my failures don't have to be your failures. So just if you guys have any questions, then be sure to ask your manager afterwards. But I'm just going to dive into this pretty directly. So first of which, a lot of people forget that when something is not systemized, it is simply forgotten or less appreciated. I think we can all recognize that and know what we're talking about. Why is it that when we're in a fast start or when we're not in SC1 or SC2, that we aren't as consistent with ourselves or we don't have the same discipline that we once did in those moments? And it's because there was a system, there was a strategy, and there was a constant goal that other people were working towards with you. So this is the same thing that you have to do with Rex. And the quicker you realize that, the quicker you're going to start to amount a bunch of Rex, not just a little, but a bunch. So it's going to start with a system. It's going to really backtrack all the way to a seed plant of the system. So in the beginning of our appointment, we're all using the interactive demo for the majority, and I think that whenever we're talking about like the All-American Scholarship or our Fast Start or XYZ with SC1, you can't neglect that there is a system also for recommendations. This is called the sponsorship scholarship. Now, everybody's familiar with the Presidential Club Scholarship, correct? Mostly. Some of us not. If you just started, that's okay if you're not. But essentially, that's a secondary scholarship that Vector awards you if you hit certain tokens throughout that timetable of a campaign. When it comes to the Presidential Club Scholarship, I realized that that is a second area of opportunity. So, what I tie into my Presidential Club Scholarship or Presidential Club Award is a sponsorship scholarship. What the sponsorship scholarship is a simple platform that allows me to raffle off items for my customers and allows me to meet more people. Now, I don't have to incentivize this, I just have to systemize this. That's it. So when you get to a certain threshold of a certain person, yes, you can incentivize it, but it's important that you just know the simplicity of creating a system and not just willy-nilly wanting Rex. Past that, you also have to understand if you're not getting Rex, it's because of three reasons. Straight up, it's three reasons. They don't like you. Brutal, right? Brutal. They don't like you. They don't like Cutco. They don't like Cutco. It's because you didn't show it well. Secret. Everybody likes Cutco. I mean, let's be real, guys. We have a product that sells itself as a forever guarantee. If they don't like Cutco, it's because they probably cut themselves, or it's because somebody cut them. Let's be real. That's probably the only reason why they don't like Cutco, other than the fact that you didn't show it appropriately. I know it's brutal. I didn't like swallowing that pill in the beginning, but it's brutal. That's the second detail. The reason why you don't get Rex is because they don't know the importance of it. They don't. So those are the three reasons. Don't overcomplicate it. It's pretty simple. The reason behind getting 10 Rex and 20 Rex or getting 6 Rex and 30 Rex is by being a concierge that's an order maker instead of an order taker. When someone appreciates what it looks like for you to show wholeheartedly a special approach for them and their situation because they feel heard. They want their friends, they want their family, they want their relatives to feel heard the same. So, how do you do that? You build rapport with somebody. Some of us don't know how to spell rapport. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know how to spell it when I first started. It's okay. I'm just ripping the band-aid off. I didn't know how to spell it, but I think it's important that we learn why rapport is so important. It doesn't have to be an hour and a half. The more rapport, typically, the more quality of the appointment. But if you're not spending 20 minutes, if it's a rushed appointment, 20 minutes at a minimum building rapport, then you're just kind of, in my opinion, using them as a transaction instead of a relationship. It's just how I feel, and it's how they will eventually feel too. The goal is when you're building rapport is to make them feel as though they're envied because you want to be like them. Doesn't have to be facetious or sarcastic, but the more somebody feels appreciated, the more there's so much psychology behind this. The more somebody talks in the first 30 minutes of an exchange, the more they like you. There's a statistic that if someone talks over 60% of the time in the first half hour of all communication, then they are more likely to want to talk to you next and not have to talk to you next. And they're more likely to appreciate you, recommend you, and have a relationship with you rather than just an acquaintance with you. So take that into advice that you don't have to interview them. But I always like to challenge everybody to go a foot and find an inch to walk a mile. You don't have to have 42 questions that are like curated and super, super, super off the wall unique. No, you don't. You just have to be curious and you have to ask them quality questions to create quality conversation. Because the goal is if you ask somebody in the first time you're talking with them a question that they haven't heard in this past 6 months and they're not going to hear in the next 6 months, then they feel so much more tied into your goal because everything that has weight it feels like it's wanted more because they have been heard and they have been seen and they have been appreciated. It's so simple. So build rapport and build quality rapport. That topic I could talk an hour and a half on. I have a mentorship group that I have a CSP group that I have over 10 that we just talked about this yesterday. What does it look like to build quality rapport? Because that's the difference between not upselling and upselling, getting Recs, not getting Recs. It's the difference between creating a package and not creating a package. So just take the extra time and care about them before you allow them to care about Cutco and you too. Okay, so moving forward, you have to seed plant recommendations. When you're seed planting recommendations, it's not just like you're throwing a knife at a wall hoping that it sticks, right? That's random, but it's real. Like you have to be intentional with it. So I want you guys to understand to be able to seed plant successfully doesn't have to be exotic. It just has to be consistent. And where I use my seed plant, you can do two seed plants before the end of your appointment and you're talking about Recs and they're giving you Recs. I choose to do it with color in the context of classic, pearl, or red. Now, I call the red sexy red. I try and make everybody smile when I say it. I'm like, yeah, I'm a UGA fan, but some people they call it sexy red. It's kind of like how some people become triple sponsors of mine. Not everybody does, but everybody appreciates it. I want to throw it into conversation. I want it to be an option, but you don't want it to be a non-option to give Rex. Just like it's not like you cannot not pick a color with Cutco. You know what I mean? Is everybody getting that parallel? So when it comes to getting Rex at the very end, it's not a surprise when it comes up because then they're wondering what's a sponsorship? What does that look like tangibly? Because you appreciate them on the front end, you create a system for it, second to that, you seed plan it, and then by the end, they're excited to give you friends. And if you're taking quality notes upon the quality questions, you have at least 5 names that you could already just give to them because they've put it in conversation. So it's important that you don't neglect this. Now, I want to go to the last time that I got over 120 recs, which was 2.5 weeks ago. I don't like boasting about this, so please forgive me, guys. I'd never want to come off arrogant, but I spent an hour and 3 minutes building rapport with this customer that bought 17K from me residentially, all one order, and they gave me 130 recommendations because they felt so far heard. I don't have to give the full context of them as people, but I think that it's missed that we don't take advantage, and I hate saying the word advantage, but we don't take advantage of both people in the room, and we just take advantage of the situation in regards to recommendations. What I mean by taking advantage of is if you're not able to use both phones in scanning the barcode, then you're not able to access both people in regards to their recommendations. The reality of it is, some people, they were like, I was just talking with a guy named Jacob. He's not in our region. He had a 70K week last week. Great, great, great gentleman. He's a DM. So much like, of course, some of these other beautiful faces on here. Unlike Ron. No, I'm just kidding, Ron. I love you. But when it comes to all of the DMs here, we have an amazing DM team. But I am very fortunate that I work with a couple DMs across the company as well. When it comes to him, he had a limiting belief when he first started and he didn't realize it, but that projected onto one of his reps. One of his reps was having a problem getting recommendations, and it's because he felt like the recommendation scenario was like they felt obligated, it felt like a burden. I was like, if you feel like that, we're providing a once in a lifetime experience. Do you understand if somebody appreciates Cutco, how much they value you as a person? Because there's so few of us that get to do this at a high capacity. Not to mention if you're sharp and certified, what all that looks like and how much you're sought after. If someone doesn't appreciate you, giving them the opportunity to learn about Cutco, to learn about you, and to show them something that they get to replace once in their lifetime and never have to worry about ever again, then they missed on who you were as a person. And I gave him that context just in the simplicity of that conversation, and now he's doubled his recommendations. Some people forget that we get to give a service. We don't have to give a service. It's a get to attitude, not a have to attitude. Just like in recommendations, it's they get to give you recommendations. They don't have to give you recommendations, but everybody does because everybody likes you, everybody likes Cutco, and everybody enjoys the opportunity to be with you. So the quicker you understand those three, the quicker you're able to understand why recommendations aren't something that just happens, but they're done at a systemized sense. So a sponsorship is 20 people being recommended to you. Some people are like, what? Oh my God, that's a lot. It's not a lot. There's no doubt that they have over 20 houses on their street. Are you kidding me? There's no doubt that they didn't graduate with their favorite class in high school that happened to have over 20 students, right? There's no doubt that they didn't have over 20 people in their wedding. Come on, guys. 20 is easy. 20 is easy. 20 is a single sponsorship. 30 is a double sponsorship. 40 is a triple sponsorship. They have to get to 60 to get free Cutco from me. That's how it works. Now, if you don't have a system, then you will fail from not having a system. So I want to share with you guys an OG customer recommendations sheet of mine that I got from my original manager that I use still to this day. So this sheet is not for them to put down every single recommendation. And some people are like, what? That's a curveball. I didn't expect that. So when they give you recommendations, I call it the hot 10, the favorite 20, or the infamous 30. This is their top 33% or their top 30% of people that they give you that if you were their son, you were their daughter, they would want you to go to first because your time is valuable just like their time is valuable. And you're an extension of them in this illustration. So I put down nothing. They put down everything. They put down the name, they put down the phone number, they put down the area, they put down if they're home during the AM or PM. And in this illustration, they gave me 30 recs, and I said, hey, give me your top 33%. They put down 13. It was pretty easy. Those are the people I'm going to call to first. Now, when it comes to replicating quality, it comes with being intentional and scouting quality. Now, it's not actually difficult. It's not difficult at all. How I want everybody to break down their quality is by understanding that when you get a customer that buys something over, we'll call it 2 grand, that is going to be your A grade customer, A. If you get somebody that buys between, we'll call it 1,300 to 2 grand, that's a B customer. If you get somebody that buys between 800 and 1,300, that's a C customer. Anybody below 800 is a D customer. And that's lifetime Cutco value, not what you sold to them. A lot of people get that mistaken. Lifetime Cutco value, what they have in their home after you leave, or they have purchased from you in combination, not just what they purchased from you. What it comes to is if you grade those people, when you call their recommendations, you should have a course of best action. So I'm not going to call somebody that I loved, that was super successful in soccer and was a professional, but bought $950 worth from me. When I have somebody that's bought over 2 grand from me, and while I didn't love them at the same capacity, you were just as kind. They had just as nice of a house. They just appreciated the kitchen a little bit more, so they have more Cutco. In reality, it's because they listened to me and they trusted me to get more Cutco because I'm a firm believer if anyone has less than $1,000 worth of Cutco in their house, then someone did them a disservice or they're just a bad listener because someone didn't fully be persistent enough to that point. So, those are the two worlds that we should live in reality. If you grade your customers and then you ask them qualifying questions on the phone, it makes it simple for your success to be straightforward. Because when you're asking them, you're going to notice there's a category here called area. I'm asking these customers, who do you know that lives in the Atlanta Athletic Club? Who do you know that lives in the Manor? I'm asking them these questions because I want them to understand that I'm not just trying to see people, I'm trying to see people intentionally where they're at because I want to not only be respectful of their time, I want to be respectful of my goals. So, qualifying them on the phone, I know this is kind of like an information overload, is the last step in recommendations that a lot of people forget. But also qualifying them in person before you lead is the most important step that people neglect to remember. So after you get, we'll call it 14 recommendations, you don't pack up. They have to get to a sponsorship in order for you to start to pack up and for them to earn one of these sheets to write down their recommendations of their top 10, their hot 10, whatever it is. It's important that you understand that a sponsorship is the weight of the scenario. It's like I can't have your card and write up the order and not have a sponsorship. Like my manager's gonna fire me, guys, because this is not normal, and you clearly just don't like me. Did I do something wrong? I literally say this. I had a customer on yeah, on Friday. It happens every so often. I'll be the first one to tell you guys that. I'm far from perfect and I make plenty of mistakes and my failures are supposed to be your simple success stories on purpose. But I had somebody, they were like, "Oh, I got 6. What do I do now?" I was like, "Yeah, just let me know whenever you get to 20. Just make sure you guys go through to the Z's on both of you guys' phones. Yeah, we got 6. We got to head out." I was like, "Did I do something wrong?" Paused. Just, did I do something wrong? No, no, no. You're great. You're great, Christian. Okay. Let me know when you get to 20 because that's how supports me with the scholarship. I want to remind you guys, they don't have to meet with me. They don't have to care to cook, and they don't have to care about my scholarship. Heck, they don't even have to live here. Just scroll through, just let me know whenever you get to the Z's. And then whenever they get to the Z's, say they're at 22, right? I'm gonna I'm gonna give some takeaways for your managers to throw in the chat. So I'm going to put this into a group chat with all of the managers. This is I'll read it off for you guys. This is something that I created that I feel is vital to everybody's success and recommendations because once you get to a sponsorship, that's the first stage. Then you upserve them, just like you do with the order. There's 7 questions to getting additional recommendations after they become a sponsor. 7 questions, okay? And I'll drop it in the chat so that your managers can throw it in simple for you guys. But I'll read them off to you guys first. First off, they're thought joggers. Who goes to your church? Who went to school with you guys? Then second question, who are some of the parents that play sports with your kids or in clubs with your kids? Third, who are some nice people you work with or some not nice people that you hate, but you know they could buy my whole dang catalog if they wanted to? I say that all the time too. And fourth, who do you know that owns a second house or a second kitchen? Fifth, Who do you know that can buy my whole catalog if they wanted to? Sixth, who do you know that cooks the most or likes to entertain on a consistent basis for you or friends or family? And then seventh, who do you know that's really nice but isn't in the area? Those seven questions, you should get at least one additional name from each question. Realistically, two. Your goal is once you get them to a sponsorship, you upserve them to a double sponsorship. And then after they do with the top 30%, just like I said before, name, occupation, home during the day, yes, no, and ideally a weird fact. So you'll notice like on this one, they have call after 10 because they have two toddlers. That's not really a weird fact, but the next one is that they have 16 animals. I don't know if I'm going to go to their house because that's kind of overwhelming, but you get the point. You want to have some sort of fun fact, right? Right. It makes it way easier when you're on the phone with them because you have a simple detail about them that is really easy to plug into conversation that creates a different atmosphere of appreciation, not just of a call for context. So I'm going to send this to you guys as managers, but it's important that you understand you upserve all of your customers in the appointment when it comes to the order, but you also don't neglect the upserve and recommendations, let alone the qualifying of those recommendations. So I know that was a little dense, guys. I was like drinking from a fire hose. Even for Christian Weekman, but I think that it's important that you guys all understand where this is coming from because this is from some consistent failure that's created these strategies of methods. And one last little gold nugget, I want everybody to remember that if you don't have one of these, you should get one of these, but you should also invest in just a quality binder or a quality notebook so that you're able to start to mount a sponsorship book for that category so that it is not just talked about, but it has a strategy for duplication because everybody becomes sponsors. So what they do is they put their name, they put the date, and they sign next to it. And just as the last nugget of information, the sponsorship does not count unless the three-way introduction text is done, because how are you supposed to show your manager? How are you supposed to accredit it? And how are you supposed to give them free Cutco at a raffle off or anything of that type if you aren't able to have them give their friends a heads up? And it's not that they have to be interested, but I have found that through Business Insider statistic, this has been very valid, that 22% of all Southerners, which we all live in the South, all Southerners, if they own a home, have owned Cutco at some point in time, if not currently. Because one in every 5 to 6 people that get a recommendation text say, I already have Cutco. So don't be shy as you're continuing to lean into these days and weeks and months to get recommendations because they're going to start setting up appointments for you because you are doing such a quality job at it. So that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you for your time.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Christian. Everyone hold up a 10 for me. We're gonna make 10 calls within these next 30 to 40 minutes.